Oh, hello there, and welcome to the Black Widow spoiler review. The Marvel Cinematic Universe film, Black Widow. I can't actually see you. Ah, there we go. As you can see, I'm wearing the traditional Black Widow undercover spy costume, which is some kind of hoodie. There we go. That's a bit better. I can see you now. So hello. Before we get before we get started today. Goodness me, hoodies ruin your hair, don't they? Before we get started today, just a big shout out to people who have already begun supporting me on Patreon. Thank you very much indeed. Yes, I think there are 5 of you at the minute, so thank you for that. I should probably put your names at the end of the video, but it's going to be a short credit roll with only 5 people, so maybe I'll do it from videos from next month. See if we can get a few more names added to that. If you want to support me on Patreon, there'll be a link for that. I've already started posting posts up there, and I also have an OnlyFans where I post different exclusive posts up there. But so far nobody has gone for that. It's not rude. It's not a sexy one. It's just different things. So we'll see. We'll see if that takes off. If it doesn't, I'll close it down. It's all just attempts at building something, isn't it? But speaking of attempts, today I'm attempting something slightly different. Today I'm going to be trying to have actual stereo sound. And I realised that my channel is now called An Englishman Whispers. But I haven't actually been whispering in my previous Loki review videos. I've been sort of low speaking like this, and you know, I've been having fun with them, and I think the people that have watched them have enjoyed them, but there haven't been that many of you, so trying something a little different today, seeing if it works. Who knows? Yes, so whisper review of the Black Widow film. There's one more piece of admin, which is a message from today's sponsor, who is still me, and I'm still trying to vlog all my unsold merch from my band, Language of Prairie Dogs. That's my band's name, and a couple of weeks ago I tried to shift some units of the CD, the compact disc, and I sold one of those. And then just last week I tried to sell some of the t-shirts that I still have for sale, and I sold none of those. And this week I'm trying to sell this gorgeous little prairie dog badge. I don't know if this will focus. Let's see. There we go. It's a enamel, and I think it's brass badge, and it's one of these. It's got like a butterfly mechanism clasp that goes on the back. This one hasn't. I lost the one for this, so I just keep this on my desk as a little memento. But I have a bunch of these, and they come in a lovely little presentation packet. I wonder if I've got that to hand. Here we go. It's just a little cardboard presentation packet. Come on, go into focus. Stupid thing. Okay. Never mind. But this is usually in there, and I can send those out to anyone who wants to buy one. It's got a lovely crinkle to it, doesn't it? That's nice. That's just the plastic wrap. And then you get the little card. I wonder if the little card will go into focus. There we go. I reckon it couldn't focus before because of the shiny reflections on the plastic. This is more traditional ASMR, isn't it? Just as I've gotten rid of the word ASMR from my channel name. I don't know what I'm doing. So that's today's sponsor, the Prairie Dog Pin badge, and if you would like to buy one, there will be a link. Please buy one, or 2, or 5, and help support me make these videos, and eventually go to drama school and pay my way through drama school. That would be great and very helpful and useful. Thanks. Black Widow then is a type of spider, isn't it? From what I understand, quite a deadly one. And when dealing with deadly spiders, I like to use this thing, which has a little handle, and it just comes open like this, and you aim it at the spider. There's this, and you grab it, and you can move it away. And the reason I bring this up is because last night, about 11:30 at night, there was a small house spider. It was like the size of a raisin or a sultana on the wall in the landing there. And the night before, I had managed to successfully evict a spider with a cup and a postcard, like a glass beaker and a postcard, from up a ladder. And riding high on that success, I thought, this will be an easy one, and I went to grab it, and it fell behind the bookshelf. And that was exactly where I keep all of my toiletries, my spare toiletries, and like my guest pillows and duvets. Not that I'm having any guests recently due to various COVID-related lockdowns, etc. But yes, when the next person comes over to stay on my sofa bed, they will be in for a raisin-shaped horror show, probably. But these are generally useful for grabbing spiders. It's taken me a while to figure out that I can't go at them at an angle. I need to be is that they have, I'm led to understand, I'm no expert, but I believe they have pneumatic kind of fluid pumps in their legs, which is why when they die their legs curl up, because there's nothing to keep them pressurized anymore. So what that means is when you're grabbing them from above over the body, it just neatly curls their legs up. It sort of disables them so that you can keep them secure in this and then go and out the window, chuck them out. So useful things for actual spiders, but not so much for Russian spies like Natasha Romanoff, the Black Widow, who it turns out is just one of quite a few Black Widows in this film, which I quite enjoyed it. As far as films go, it was a perfectly fun way to spend a couple of hours. But it wasn't, how do I put it, fabulous. It wasn't perfect. It was fine. It was perfectly fine. Florence Puff, the English actor, was really good in it. Very, very sarky, very bolshy, fun, and also the source of the waistcoat that Scarlett Johansson wore in Avengers Infinity War. So if you were wondering about the origin of that particular item of clothing, this film acts as, spoiler alert, this film acts as kind of the origin story for that waistcoat, which, if you don't remember, I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't remember. It was quite an integral part to the film Infinity War, but it's sort of a bit khaki, a bit black, and khaki green, and it's kind of a utility waistcoat, or vest, as Americans would say. A utility vest with like pockets with zips on, and for anyone who has ever wondered where that item of clothing was picked up by the Black Widow, this film will tell you. I'll tell you. I just did tell you. It's Florence Puff, her character, who's got some Russian name. But speaking of Russian names, there was a name in the credits that I spotted, Olga Kurilenko, who you may remember was a Bond girl in the film Quantum of Solace, the bad guy, from which I also recently saw in the Sound of, I want to say Sound of Music, but that's not right, The Sound of Metal, the film where he goes, he's a drummer and he goes deaf, and I can't remember the guy, he's a French guy, the baddie from Quantum of Solace, the James Bond film from 2008. He's I think his name's, they're all called Mathieu, aren't they? Mathieu, or Vincent or something, I don't know what his name is. But he turns up in the film The Sound of Metal. And then Olga, who I love, I think she's great. She was in Oblivion with Tom Cruise. Was it Oblivion or The Edge of Tomorrow? He did a couple of sci-fi films at the same time, back in 2014 or something. And one of them was, it was Oblivion, where he's a clone. Spoiler alert. This isn't the Oblivion 7 years later spoiler review, Matt. What are you doing? What? Anyway, Olga, I think she's great, and she's actually Russian or Ukrainian or something like that. I also, Florence Puff was wonderful, but again, you could have got Mila Kunis in to, actually speak some Russian. Not as the same character, maybe something else, but, Oh, I don't know. There's, there's an English guy in it, I think he's English. It's got an English accent anyway. And if you watch this film, you will be racking your brains going, where do I know him from? Where do I recognise his face from? And I eventually found out he is Other Dave from the first River Song episode of Doctor Who, way back when, with David Tennant. Hey, who turned out the lights? That guy. That's who he is, so you're welcome. If you couldn't place him, now you can. But yeah, as an origin movie about Scarlett Johansson's waistcoat, utility waistcoat, it now makes me think, are we going to get an origin movie for Captain America's beard? Because that was never explained. And he only had it for the one film, didn't he? But it was an integral part of that film as well. I'd like to see it explained. I'd like its own origin story, if we can get that. We've already, this is also acts as the origin story for Scarlett Johansson's blonde hair in Infinity War as well. This film is set between Captain America Civil War and Avengers Infinity War, and it kind of sets up the fact that she's got this utility waistcoat and blonde hair. Although the blonde hair doesn't get as much of a backstory really. She just, for some reason, at the end she's on the run from the whole film. At the end of Civil War, she goes on the run, and this film picks up where that left off, you see. And at the end of this film, she almost turns herself in for no reason, really. She calls for help from S.H.I.E.L.D., from whom she's on the run, but then fixes everything, and then they turn up at the end in a couple of cars. There's not really gonna be much help at all. And then it just cuts to black, and we're left to wonder what happens. And what happens is she spends 2 weeks getting her hair done. So presumably, S.H.I.E.L.D. picked her up and took her to the hairdressers. Which begs the question, why is S.H.I.E.L.D.? How are S.H.I.E.L.D. in Russia? Surely they're not allowed to go into... I don't think Vladimir Putin would like them being there all that much. But these are just questions that we're left to ponder and, wonder about at the end of the film. There's a YouTuber out there, an appalling personality. I don't know if it's his real personality, but he says... he makes a couple of good points, and then he says some awful things. I'm not subscribed, but I do watch them. And he's called the Critical Drinker, a grumpy Scottish kid, and he moans in his Black Widow video about the fact that David Harbour is presented as who's the Captain America type, the Russian Captain America type. His name is the Red Guardian, and he's presented as a kind of bumbling idiot. So says the Critical Drinker, and the Critical Drinker's thesis is that it's meant to be. It's directed by a woman. It's written by a woman. It's starring a woman in the lead role. It's supposed to be a all-empowering feminist film at the expense of the two male characters in this who are, well, there are three, but they're all kind of weak and ineffectual and bumbling idiots or whatever. And I've got to say that I disagree with that reading. I think that it is an American imperialist studio film poking fun at the idea of Russian supremacy. If there were going to be a Russian Captain America, of course he'd be a fat drunk, wouldn't he? Ha ha it's not all a big anti-man conspiracy there. Don't worry. Pretty certain. Or I could be wrong. Maybe it is. Who knows? Who cares? It's not important, really. It's just an action film. It's fine. But yeah. So let's ruin it for you. I shouldn't call these spoiler reviews. I should call them just ruin reviews. I'll ruin the film for you. The Taskmaster, who for months we were teased, weren't we, in the trailers? Is it going to be the Rachel Weisz? It's going to be her, hasn't it? No, it's Olga, who's in a mask for the whole thing and never says a word. So, doesn't really. It's not that big of a mystery, really. What else can I ruin for you? Ray Winstone is in it, and he's got a really just appalling accent. It's just terrible. So he ruins that for himself. It's not. Ray Winstone is brilliant in Sexy Beast and Scum and other things. Nil by Mouth, the Gary Oldman directed film, wonderful piece of work. In this, he's kind of phoning it in. It's just a bit, So that ruins it, doesn't it? And there's no big mystery about him. He's revealed almost straight away at the beginning. So, there's nothing really to spoil for a spy film. There's not much spying, and there's, the Black Widows, who are sort of the expendable other ones that just pop up every now and then. They do a bit of spying at the start, but then it just stops, and we never really know who they're. Well, we kind of get told who they're spying on, but it's not engaging as a spy vehicle. It's just sort of some stuff that happens, which I think is a slight structural failure of the film, if I'm being perfectly honest. But again, it's a Disney Marvel movie. If you want some, popcorn entertainment for a couple of hours, shove it on. You do have to pay additional though, even if you're a Disney Plus subscriber, you do have to give them another 20 quid. I don't know how many dollars it is, but it's £19.99 over here. And that's a bit of a steep order, particularly as most Marvel films, they stop and you could happily watch them again straight away, because it's like, it doesn't go in, it's like, it's, what do they call the empty carbs, or whatever the phrase is, you eat it and you're like, oh, I've just eaten this, but I can happily eat it again. It's like that with most Marvel films. This one, you don't really want to watch it again, but it's not because you're completely satisfied and stuffed and satiated. It's because you're like, that was fine. I'll probably watch it again in a few months, or next year maybe. Who knows? But yeah. So paying an extra 20 quid for that, and then not really being bothered about watching it again immediately. I could have gone to the pictures to watch it, but of course, at the time I'm filming this, we're still in a pandemic, so why would anyone go to the pictures? Don't be ridiculous. If you must go, wear a mask and go in the middle of the day, in the middle of the week, so that you're not near anyone, for goodness sakes. So to wrap up then, please support me on Patreon and have a look at the OnlyFans if you wanted to, and please buy one of these little pin badges. They're very nice and I spent a long time designing them, and then nobody bought them. And Black Widow, worth it. If you've got Disney Plus, it will be free on the service in about 3 months' time, and there's nothing wrong with waiting. Patience is a virtue. That's it. That's all I've got to say on that, really. Guess I'll bye for now.